it's a charge, it's an indictment, and that happens all across this country constantly. And then the next question is, okay, so when is this guy going to show up and you know, appear in court and have a trial or what have you? And I would say to those that wonder whether this is just an indictment or we're going to go away, we're not. So, go ahead. Yes, the blue shirt. Yeah. I'll go to the middle next.
Attorney General Blanche, we would like to know what would be the next step to, a lot of people are wondering if there will be any sort of attack, military response from the United States, if this now indictment gives permission for the United States to be closer to Cuba and again get Raul Castro and those others implicated here to the United States.
So I'm the acting Attorney General of the Department of Justice. We bring charges. So the question you asked is a question that involves the Department, the President of the United States, the Secretary of War, the Secretary of State, and doesn't involve the acting Attorney General. So what I can tell you is that this is this indictment, as we've said a bunch of times today, is a result of a lot of hard work and what we believe is an important step in bringing some semblance of justice to the families and friends and loved ones of these men who were murdered. But beyond that, I'm not going to talk about what could happen with Cuba beyond that. Yes, go ahead.
Attorney General Gloria Ordaz from Telemundo 51. Thank you for this opportunity. The next step is going to be an arrest warrant, and I ask you this because the Cuban exile would love to see Raul Castro in the same position of Nicolás Maduro. And a lot of legal experts that we have interviewed during these days have said that Raul Castro, that this indictment will be more symbolic than practice, and that Raul Castro should probably die in Cuba. What is your message for them?
Well, I'm not going to compare cases, for one. For two, like I said a few minutes ago, we indict men who are not physically within the United States all the time. This is not a new endeavor or adventure for us. And so the way that we get people here who are charged with a crime varies. There's all kinds of different ways. And this is not, you know, there's an arrest warrant issued for a reason, because we certainly expect and believe that Mr. Castro is entitled to his day in court right here in Miami. Sue, yeah.
Thank you, sir. Jesse Hirsch with NBC News. You mentioned that the grand jury approved these charges weeks ago. Curious to know what, if any, role the CIA director's visit to Cuba in recent days played in deciding to move forward with announcing this indictment. And
I'm not going to get into why we decided to unseal the indictment today, except to note the place that we're standing and the important day that today represents. But yes, you're right. There's a lot of factors that go into when a sealed indictment is unsealed, if ever. And so beyond just the fact that, look, by the way, it wasn't that long ago. It was late April. It's mid-May. So.
Thank you. One other question. If people look at this and say this is at least partially just a pretext to push for regime change in Cuba, what would you say to people who take that perspective?
I don't care what people look at and think. I mean, we returned an indictment, and that's what we're here to talk about. If people want to speculate or think what they will, I don't care. Okay, one more question. Blue.
Hi, so the final speaker, oh, thank you. Hi, I'm Deborah Acosta with the Wall Street Journal. The final speaker mentioned or hinted at a potential team of people that has been put together to lead the country. Who are those people? Are they in the United States? Are they in Cuba? Is it a mix of both? Can you share a little bit more about that team?
I'm not sure what you're talking about. Can you say it again?
At the final speaker mentioned that there is a team of people that's going to lead this forward.
That's your nickname. Final speaker.
So why don't we let the final speaker address that?
And thank you for the new nickname.
Yeah, very good.
Will ever be known as the final speaker.
That's probably easier to pronounce than my last name, Uthmeyer, but I don't think I referenced what you're saying. Where I talked about people spread across the state, I was talking about the spies and the criminal conspiracy that the evidence has revealed took place. There were spies working from Miami all the way down to the Florida Keys, gathering intelligence and providing it to the regime to figure out where these aircraft were going to be and put them in harm's way. As far as other geopolitical things, I'm going to stay in my lane for now. Thanks.
Thank you, everyone. This concludes the press conference on behalf of Miami-Dade College and the Freedom Tower. Thank you so much for being here, and you may go upstairs to an exhibit, Libertad.
wondering he's about 4 inches taller than me. All right. And Byron's even taller than that.
Americans. Destruction of aircraft. So, and if you just look at the history of the Cuban regime, on top of being not a Holocaust survivor, right? This is not somebody from World War II. This is somebody that this year, okay, this is a picture from this year in Cuba. So when Democrats go down there and campaign for the regime, they're campaigning to do this to a human being. Alexander Rodriguez is, I think, 45 years old. Look how old he looks in this. You know why? He was starved. He was tortured. He has cancer. They didn't give him treatment. That's the face of the Cuban regime. So, again, what the path we're going down has enormous opportunity for the people. Finally, after decades to pick their own future. On top of that, another thing they do, they probably doctors, you send doctors to another country, get the doctors minutes, and they take the same thing for the regime. Sanctioned by the Pan-American Health Organization, sister organization, the WHO. So sanctioned by international
justice for Cuban Americans in Florida and all across the United States of America. For more than 60 years, we have witnessed, very close to our shores, 90 miles off the coast of Florida, we have witnessed a communist dictatorship led escape tyranny. And they gave the order, Raul Castro, to shoot them down, to shoot them out of the sky. Well, today there will be justice done here in America. And my hope is this trial is in Florida so that Mr. Castro faces a jury of his peers in the nation that stands for freedom and liberty and opportunity, not dictatorship, not despotism, and not communism. So this is a great day for the Cuban people, a great day for the people of Florida, a great day for the people of our country. We want to see justice done, and justice will be done. And if they don't believe us, go ask the Florida man of Venezuela. With that, I'll turn it over to my colleague, Mr. Jimenez.
from our shores. We just learned recently that they have at least 300 drones in their possession. That actually puts, excuse me, the entire southeast of the United States at risk. These drones have ranges up to 600 miles. And so anybody thinks that Cuba's not a threat. They have been always a threat. They are today, and they will be a threat if they continue to exist in the future. They harbor all of our major enemies around the world. They're an ally to China, to Russia, Hezbollah, all kinds of terrorist organizations that the states go to.
is the mothership of evil in the Western Hemisphere. Cuba is only exports terror. And when Trump said that the Western Hemisphere proximity of the Western Hemisphere, so close to the homeland that we need to protect it. So this is what's happening right now. Cuba, after the Castros, will be a friend to the United States on the economic front, on the security front, on the political front, on the immigration front. So that's why we thank you, Mr. Trump, for taking this action and for making the Cubans free again and to dear friends of the United States. Thanks to all of you for the opportunity of being here in front of you. And once again, I repeat, it's a glorious day for South Florida, for the Cuban Americans that we represent, and for the United States of America. Thank you.
All right, we can answer any questions anybody has. Go ahead.
Yes, thank you for your question. I'm Natalia Cabrera with NTN24. So I hear you saying that to Raul Castro, that is the opportunity to go. Does that mean that you will support for him to go perhaps to a third country to take an exit in the exile, as so many Cubans had to take at some point? And if you don't mind answer this question in Spanish for our audience and also for him to watch this message.
Who are you asking?
Yep.
Yeah, do you want Spanish?
If it's possible.
Why don't we just finish in English, and
No,
then we'll
do
move
Spanish.
into Spanish.
Well,
if
first
that's
off,
okay.
and I'm not going to speak for anybody else. Like, I want Raul Castro to go. Would you like him to be in prison? Sure. Would you like him to serve time? Sir. Would you like? But if he gets out and we get democracy and the people of Cuba have an opportunity, that's a good day.
Yes.
I'm interested in methods. Do you think this fast tracks regime change in Cuba? And if you support that, how would you do it? Would you do it through economic pressure, military means? How should this
Well, Castro controls all the money. All right, they control all the money. So hopefully now the money's drying up because of what Trump has done. But if you look at the people of Cuba, they're willing to fight for their freedom. They've been doing it. Unfortunately, the Diaz-Canel has been putting these peaceful protesters like Alexander in prison. And so hopefully now they're seeing that America will stand up for them, that they'll do it on their own. But if it takes something, we should not take anything off the table. I mean, the same thing happened to Maduro should happen to Raul Castro. But I'm not going to get ahead of whatever the Trump administration wants to do. Yes.
What does justice look like in your eyes?
I wouldn't stand trial. And the right thing is you have to stand trial. In this country, you stand trial. So he needs to stand trial. And, based on the evidence we know, he would be in prison the rest of his life. And everybody around him that was part of that, they would be in prison also.
The Foreign Minister of Cuba, Bruno Rodriguez, says he will continue fighting despite U.S. action. What do you have to say about this?
Ha ha
Keep
ha.
going. That's not going to go well.
Ha.
Let me say this, okay? The foreign minister of Cuba is not part of the ruling establishment of Cuba. The ruling establishment of Cuba is actually a somewhat free enterprise system called GAESA. GAESA is really headed by Raul Castro. They control 70% of Cuba's economy. As a matter of fact, the budget of GAESA is actually larger than the budget of the Cuban government. And so really, Diaz-Canel and all that apparatus, they're just figureheads. GAESA are the real people that are controlling Cuba today. So a foreign minister can say whatever, the president can say whatever, it doesn't matter. It only matters really what Raul Castro and GAESA are saying. And what is, and a little education what GAESA is, all right? GAESA is an organization made up of military personnel that control all economic activity on the island.
Hotel,
Right? Everything. They control everything. They have billions of dollars at their disposal. Today, 15 billion, I'm hearing. $16 billion today that they have, and yet they don't buy oil, they don't buy food, they don't buy medicine. What they do is they build hotels and whatever it is that they think that they can put money in their pockets. They are thieves, disguised as revolutionaries. They don't even believe in communism.
They live in opulence.
They do, okay? And so everybody suffers, and they, them and their children and relatives go off in a jet-set world, date Hollywood stars, all right, while the people of Cuba are suffering. So it doesn't really matter what the foreign minister says. He's got nothing to say, or his words mean nothing because he doesn't really govern Cuba. I want to listen to what GAESA people have to say.
Let's put this into context. Cuba, GAESA has $16 billion in reserves. And GAESA, as the congressman said, is an institution within the government.
they control everything and is being controlled by Raul because the military control everything. The difference between the Castros and the Ayatollahs is that the Castros do not have resources. Russia is not helping them anymore. Venezuela is gone. And Sheinbaum, the president of Mexico, President Trump, sent a very clear message that she could not be helping these thieves any longer, which we very much appreciate the fact that she stopped. So when you do not have oil or food or electricity or water or medicine, how are you going to repress? It's a very big question. Like Carlos was saying, they have $16 billion in reserves. Let's find out. And I'm sure the Department of War will figure out what are they going to do that money with. If they are going to indeed attack or they are going to create a military problem for the United States, we know exactly how we're going to be responding, but that is up to the Secretary. What's important is that I do believe that Raul, and there's only Raul, his two daughters, his son, and his grandson, and his nephew. We're talking about 6 Castro family members. If they decide to go, I agree with the senator that I would love for them to die in jail. But if it's the best thing for this country, for the United States, and for the Cuban people, but first for the United States, for them to just go, I'm sure that my constituents, the largest Cuban exile community in the country, will be okay with that. Not happy, but we'll be okay.
Brian, Byron, you want to?
No, nothing. Go ahead.
Okay. Go ahead.
Given the proximity to Cuba and also the large amount of Cuban Americans in Florida and South Florida, what opportunities do you envision for potential relations with a reformed Cuba? What comes to mind?
Right. Well, I mean, first and foremost, the regime has to end. And so I agree with what my colleagues have said about Raul and the family. Of course, we want him in jail, but if they leave, they leave. The second key thing is going to be working with whatever semblance of government that exists in a free Cuba to reestablish the constitution that works for the people of Cuba, actually have a system of security, a system where you can set up a judicial court system to operate. You have to also figure out how you're going to manage direct foreign investment that would go to an open and free Cuba, how you're going to guarantee contracts and that type of a system. Florida stands ready to cooperate with a free Cuba. We stand ready to do that work. Our port systems, both our seaports and our airports, are fully equipped and ready with investment moving through the United States of America, coming from Florida, to help the Cuban people stabilize that country and then to reopen it as a free society. But I want to stress, Florida will fully cooperate with a free Cuba. Florida will not cooperate with some amalgam of a new dictatorship if the Castros are gone.
If you could just look at Miami for a second, there's unbelievable numbers of successful Cuban businessmen and women, and so people will go back and invest, but they're not going to invest unless there's freedom. There's exactly what the congressman said, that there's a rule of law. You have your contracts are going to be enforced. The people have freedom, but if you do, it's a beautiful. Anybody that's been there, I was there. I wasn't there in the Navy in Guantanamo Bay. It's a beautiful island. They got great beaches, and it's a wonderful place to go. And actually, if you look at the Cuban people, it's an industrious people. They want to work hard. They're smart. So there's a massive opportunity for people to invest in Cuba if they have freedom and democracy.
I agree with that.
Let me say one. In 1959, Cuba had the second highest standard of living in the Western Hemisphere. Cuba was the jewel of the Caribbean. Cubans around the world are highly successful. We're successful in business, we're successful in entertainment, in the arts, music, wherever Cubans go. And I know that I'm Cuban, I'm saying, hey, wow, we're really good people. But really, when you look at it, pretty successful people around the world. There's one place that they're not successful. That's Cuba. And so if Cuba was free and we had democracy, it's a great opportunity for the state of Florida. Okay, many
Florida is many times over what the Cuban regime produces. So right there, it gives you a perfect example with numbers of what a free Cuba with over